ICJSA, firstly, is the Irish Commission for Justice and Social Affairs. It's a commission of the Bishops' Conference. And it has, since its inception 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, it has long been concerned with the issue of poverty. And like at the height of our, if you like, of our boom years and our years of prosperity, and we reflected deeply on the previous Bishop's document, Prosperity with a Purpose, we realised that many people were not benefiting at all from this boon, and that the poor were still being marginalised. And with that in mind, we decided, in conjunction with the St. Vincent de Paul, to try and put our thoughts together and issue a document which we call Poverty. Since we began our serious reflection on this, the world has gone into a financial crisis. There's been a huge economic recession. Ireland has experienced this big time. And because of this, we're afraid that more and more people who are poor and who never benefited during the prosperous years will become more marginalised and suffer even greater deprivation than they do already. In addition to that, many who are benefiting from the boon actually now find themselves under enormous pressure. For example, many have find that their homes are up for repossession. The cost of living, while it hasn't gone up significantly in terms of money, nevertheless the affordability of goods, of ordinary family goods, has become increasingly difficult for some. And also unemployment has risen. And that's a big factor, and we deal with that. We try to deal with that in this paper. Concern for the poor is at the very heart of the Church's message, and has always been at the heart of the Church's message. And Jesus himself showed great concern for the poor. And I'd like to just read a quote to you from the late Pope John Paul II about the poor. He said, "Poverty can undermine many of the principles of solidarity, creating victims among the weakest members of the population." We take that very much to heart. And that's the underlying reason why we produced this document. I think that the challenges in the current financial crisis are for us all to help promote, in whatever way we can, the common good of society, and also to defend the interests of the most vulnerable in our society. We focus not just on the impact of poverty on individuals, but on the impoverishment of society as a whole, because society is deprived of the talents and the gifts of many people who now find themselves in a situation of poverty. Therefore, the common good suffers as a result of that. Our hope and our ambition, our vision, if you like, for this document is that we will raise awareness of the need for everyone to support the common good. As part of the raising of the awareness of the common good and of the need for our support for people who are poor, we focus, as always, on the Gospel and on the social teaching of the Church. In particular, we focus on Matthew 25. And we often talk privately about being an M25 Christian, you know, Matthew 25. But in that part of the Gospel where he says, when did you come and see me when I was in prison, or clothe me when I was naked, or feed me when I was hungry? And Jesus answered, as long as you did it to one of these, the least of my brothers and sisters, you did it to me. That's one of the driving forces behind our document. As long as you did it to one of these, the least of my brothers and sisters, you did it to me. That's our support for the common good. Through this document, what the ICJSA is calling on people to do is to support the work of the voluntary sector through its financial contributions and also through active citizenship. It's also through its research on the subject, and we've worked very closely with the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, that we find that their work in particular in the cause of the poor and alleviating incidents of poverty throughout the land are deserving of our every support and of our cooperation. I think their work is extremely important. There's also a growing concern that it will no longer be able to meet the demand for its services, because not only are the services increasing, but the fund of money available to it for disbursement is decreasing. And we think that's an issue that people should be very aware of and try to help wherever possible. And also, of course, the promotion of the common good. Again, I go back to this. We're trying to promote the common good, that people would be aware of the common good, that society would not be deprived of the talents and gifts of people, of citizens, through poverty or because of the lack of resources. We're asking that that common good be supported through this document. And finally, could I say this, in this document, we're calling on the government to implement policies that promote the common good and protect the vulnerable in our society. Indeed, if you want to see this document for yourself, I'd suggest and highly recommend that you log on to www.catholicjustice.ie, where you can read the document for yourself, peruse it at your leisure, and the title of the document is "In the Wake of the Celtic Tiger, Poverty in Contemporary Ireland."